Let me tell you something strange about loneliness. It's not always a weakness. Sometimes it's a form of wisdom that the world no longer understands. In an age obsessed with followers, fame, and validation, those who walk alone are often misunderstood. They're labeled as antisocial, cold, or distant, when in truth, they're simply awake. Because beneath loneliness hides a certain kind of emotional control, a silent stoicism, and a deeper leadership psychology. The kind that doesn't chase people, it attracts peace. The kind that doesn't seek approval, it seeks alignment. This is the paradox of solitude. People who have no friends often see the world with sharper eyes. While everyone else is busy performing connection, they practice reflection. While others collect attention, they cultivate understanding. And maybe that's why many of the world's greatest thinkers, creators, and leaders lived quietly. Not because they couldn't belong, but because they refused to belong where meaning was missing. In this video, we'll explore the psychology of loneliness, the hidden traits of those who live at a deeper frequency, authenticity, independence, self-awareness, and emotional strength. You'll learn why the ability to be alone isn't social failure, it's psychological evolution, and how solitude, when mastered, becomes your most powerful ally in building purpose, clarity, and self-respect. Because the truth is, loneliness isn't the absence of people, it's the presence of yourself. And once you understand that, you stop feeling alone and start feeling free. Pause for a moment. What has solitude ever taught you about yourself? Comment one word below. Awareness. Here's a truth most people don't realize. Loneliness isn't a lack of company. It's a mirror. It reflects who you really are when the world stops watching. People who have no friends often carry an invisible kind of strength. They don't depend on noise to feel alive. They don't need validation to feel valuable. They've learned the quiet discipline of self-connection, something society rarely teaches anymore. Because let's be honest, we live in a time where connection is measured in numbers, not depth, where loneliness is treated like a flaw to be fixed, not an experience to be observed. But for those who walk alone, solitude becomes something sacred. It becomes the gym of the soul. When you spend enough time with yourself, you stop chasing distractions and start discovering depth. You start hearing your own thoughts clearly, without the static of other people's expectations. That's when something shifts. You realize that being alone isn't emptiness, it's clarity. This is what stoicism and emotional intelligence are built upon. The ability to hold your own company without collapsing under the weight of it, to sit with silence and let it sculpt you into something unshakable. Most people fear loneliness because it exposes what's unhealed. It reveals the parts of you that relationships often hide. But those who face it head-on, who don't rush to fill it with attention, noise, or drama, they grow faster than anyone else. They start to develop emotional control, the calmness that comes from understanding themselves deeply. They learn to respond instead of react. They stop apologizing for needing space, and eventually, their solitude turns into strength, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. There's a reason so many powerful minds throughout history walked alone. They weren't antisocial, they were anti-distraction. They understood that loneliness is the price of clarity, and clarity is the foundation of influence. When you remove the crowd, you finally hear your intuition. You start making decisions based on truth, not trend. And that's how you find freedom. Not through belonging, but through alignment. But here's the paradox. Loneliness also refines empathy. People who spend time alone often develop deep emotional sensitivity, because when you've sat with your own pain, you start recognizing it in others. That's why many lonely people are extraordinary listeners, artists, healers, and thinkers. They see beyond the surface. They understand things that can't be said out loud. They may not have many friends, but the ones they do have, they protect with fierce loyalty, because they value energy exchange, not entertainment. They'd rather sit in silence with someone who feels right than laugh loudly with a room that feels wrong. That's selectivity, not arrogance. It's self-respect disguised as distance. And that's something most people misunderstand about loneliness. It's not a wall, it's a filter. It's how emotionally mature people protect their peace in a noisy, draining world. Think about it. When you don't fear being alone, no one can manipulate you with attention. When you don't crave approval, no one can control you through rejection. That's the real meaning of power, internal independence. Lonely people often possess this quiet form of leadership psychology. They lead themselves first. They live by internal principles, not public opinion, and they don't measure success by who claps for them. They measure it by whether their choices align with their truth. That's what makes them magnetic. People might not always understand them, but they feel their depth. And that depth, in a shallow culture, becomes their superpower. There's also a scientific side to this. Research in business psychology and neuroscience shows that solitude activates the brain's default mode network, the system responsible for creativity, introspection, and problem solving. In other words, the mind literally becomes more intelligent in silence. That's why the people who spend time alone often think clearer, write better, and create more meaningful work. They're not drained by social overstimulation. They're fueled by internal insight. But solitude isn't just about creativity. It's also about boundaries. People who spend more time alone often develop sharper social awareness. They can sense manipulation, insincerity, or hidden agendas faster than others. It's like their intuition gets amplified by isolation. Because when you've had to be your own friend long enough, you develop radar for authenticity. You stop tolerating relationships that drain you, no matter how familiar they are. You stop explaining your worth to people who are committed to misunderstanding it. You stop chasing love that costs you your peace. And this is where self-leadership begins, knowing when to walk away without resentment. Because sometimes, solitude isn't loneliness, it's recalibration. It's the universe clearing space for what's meant for you. But it takes courage to see it that way. Most people are so afraid of being left out that they never realize they've left themselves. They fill their lives with social noise just to avoid facing their emotional silence. Yet those who truly master solitude find something eternal, self-trust, the kind that doesn't crumble when others leave, the kind that doesn't fade when the world goes quiet. Because once you trust yourself fully, no loneliness can scare you again. You stop chasing connection and start curating it. You choose relationships based on alignment, not availability. You realize that peace is worth more than presence. And from that mindset, something profound happens. You start winning quietly. Opportunities align. Energy flows smoother. Your decisions become clearer. And people start noticing your calm more than your charisma. Because the truth is, charisma isn't volume, it's vibration. And those who are comfortable in solitude radiate something rare, inner gravity. So if you're one of those people who's often alone, who feels misunderstood, or who finds peace in quiet, don't see it as a flaw. See it as your foundation. It's your training ground for self-mastery. It's where resilience is born. Because when the world finally slows down, it's not the loudest who survive. It's the calmest, the ones who've learned to breathe alone, to listen without noise, to think without interference. And that's not loneliness. That's power in disguise. Pause for a moment. What's one thing you've learned about yourself in solitude? Comment one word below. Strength. There comes a point in every person's life when they realize loneliness is not something to escape, it's something to understand. Because the more you run from loneliness, the louder it gets. But when you turn around and face it, it softens. It becomes less of an enemy and more of a teacher. People who have no friends often discover this earlier than most. They stop searching for belonging outside and start finding it inside. They learn that peace isn't found in crowded rooms or endless conversations. It's found in the space between thoughts, in the silence between words. That silence becomes sacred. It's where they meet the truest version of themselves, unfiltered, unperformed, untouched by opinion. And once you meet that version of yourself, you stop feeling the need to impress anyone, because you finally realize authenticity is worth more than approval. You don't need everyone to like you when you truly like yourself. That's what people miss when they pity the lonely. They think loneliness means lack, but it often means liberation. It means you've stopped settling for noise that doesn't nourish you. It means you've chosen growth over gossip, meaning over company, clarity over comfort. And that kind of solitude changes everything. It sharpens your intuition. It strengthens your boundaries. It refines your taste in people, in goals, in life itself. Soon, you begin to attract those who speak your language. The quiet, grounded, truth-seeking souls who understand depth more than drama. The ones who see silence not as awkwardness, but as peace. And suddenly, loneliness transforms. It stops being isolation and becomes illumination. You start realizing you were never truly alone. You were just waiting to meet people who move at your frequency. That's the hidden beauty of solitude. It doesn't make you distant from the world. It prepares you to connect better with it. Because when you understand yourself deeply, you love others more wisely. You no longer need them to fill your emptiness. You simply share your fullness. And that's when life begins to expand. Slowly, quietly, beautifully. Opportunities appear not because you chase them, but because your calm attracts them. Peace becomes magnetic. Presence becomes your power. In the end, loneliness was never the problem. It was the initiation, the path that led you to the version of yourself that no longer settles for half connections or hollow conversations. You see, the people who always need others rarely meet themselves, but the ones who walk alone, they meet their mind, their heart, their purpose. And that is the greatest friendship of all. So if you're walking through a lonely season right now, don't rush it. Don't numb it. Don't call it a curse. It's your metamorphosis, your mind clearing space for something sacred. Because one day, you'll look back and realize this loneliness was your greatest teacher. It didn't break you. It built you. It didn't isolate you. It introduced you to you. Pause for a moment. What's one word you'd use to describe your current season of growth? Comment below. Clarity. Because once you see yourself clearly, you'll never fear being alone again. You'll understand that solitude isn't emptiness, it's evolution.